Okay, now we have to clue Johnny in because we had some fun with this yesterday. So
Okay, yeah, I'm not aware.
Nick went on with Patrick, and Patrick already reeling from the revelations that he dresses up his dog as a martini and takes pictures and drives for hours to go on doggy play dates with strangers. So he's having a little tough time with that. Nick went on and he went on and for hours talked about my penis. I hate to break it to people. I don't have a giant kickstand hog. I mean, I'm not upset with it. I'm not angry with, I'm happy.
I have what I call an adequate piece of equipment.
Like I said, you seen one? You seen mine. It's weird. People were emailing me. They're like, you have to get an HRO, blah, 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 and this and that. And I'm like, I know maybe I'm just built different, and I know I am, but like, to me, it's internet shit, It has no bearing on my everyday. It has no bearing on my life. I'm just like, this guy's in a bad, bad place. And and then everything else, like you can tell he still hasn't come to grips with what he's done because he's coping and lying, and they'd ask him about different stuff, and you'd just be like, well, that's just demonstrably not true and a clear contradiction of everything you said. It's like he's like the Joker in The Killing Joke where he's like, if I'm going to have a past, I'd prefer it be multiple choice. He's just like, oh, yeah, my nanny left. And that's why April was spending so much time. It's like, no, that's not it. No, sorry. And also, he said the nanny left because of a bad breakup. I heard what the nanny said. The nanny said she couldn't take this shit anymore, and she couldn't be in that house of degeneracy and disgustingness anymore. She needed something more wholesome. There was no breakup. There was no bad breakup she was going through. She was fine.
She's happy and well off.
Right. Those people were the only stressor in her life. Let's be very
problem
clear.
With her job was her job, so she found a different one.
Well, and then like McBuster says, yeah, it wasn't the cocaine at all. He also said, oh, yeah, I always brought the giant safe, the big lockbox full of drugs with me whenever I went somewhere. I will attest as eyewitness, that's also a lie. I mean, that it just was. There were many times where he would come home from something stressed out or angry, like a family thing or something, and he'd go right into that drawer in the bathroom. He'd pull out the big thing and he'd put it up. But also, don't tell that lie. That's a bad lie to tell, because then you're telling people every time you had your kids in the car, you were driving around, you were driving your kids around
box of drugs
with a thing with an ounce of coke in it. And an ounce of coke, that had been used a little bit. What the cops found, that wasn't a fresh stash.
No.
That was a little, that was a little used. So, yeah, it's just like all these lies. And for no other reason than, hey, if people will believe this lie, I won't be the guy who got caught with a shitload of cocaine and my kid testing positive for cocaine and all this. Like, if I just tell, if they believe, he thinks there's going to be one lie that's going to unlock the door and then everything else will be undone. It's like, aren't you tired
it's kind of in a court record now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, aren't you tired of running? Like, don't you just want to admit everything and be honest about it and admit that you're a piece of shit and you're human garbage and that's who you used to be and now every day you're going to try to be better? Like, every day you keep lying about it, that whole history continues to control your life. So
But I already admit I'm human garbage. Oh, we're not talking about me. Sorry.
I just miss Aaron's penis. Kloppo says, sounds like a shit nanny anyway who didn't clean up. She was driving the kids everywhere. I mean, she was gone every second of every day. She'd stop by for 5 or 10 minutes, and then she had to drive to something else. She was doing all of it.
You have 7 people to take care of in a house, and 2 of them are apparently on drugs.
Well, and here's the other thing. Nobody's working. Like, he's not doing any shows or anything. Like, you don't need her. You just wanted to be able to do drugs and be degenerate, so you did that, and you used her as, like, the crutch, and then she goes, yeah, I don't want to be... Like, imagine thinking that she was going through a bad breakup. It's much more reasonable to go, hey, I really don't want to be the crutch for a junkie. I think I'm going to find a new gig.
tired of holding your life together regardless of whether or not you pay me.
Right. And she was. I mean, his level of stress and anger and angst and bitterness and everything after she left. Oh my God, did he hate himself? Still does. But like it really went into hyperdrive after she left. And she was a really nice person too. She was really great.